Defense made a motion for a mistrial. Prosecutor was up to some fuckery. Potentially damaging evidence, no basis for it. The judge specifically said, do not ask that question. Do not use that as evidence. She walked right down the path and asked the question. It may be over on Tuesday morning. Batman Bruce Wayne bitch snitch. Gerald Brooks, your constitution does not apply to me because I'm a sovereign citizen, a traveler on the land. I'm the Moorish Empire or whatever, bitch snitch. Because they're so fucking absurd. If you want to be a sovereign citizen, just do yourself a favor first. Go to YouTube here and just get every sovereign citizen that's ever been before. Find me one that won. God dang, you're right. Don't go down this. It's not the path. Don't have time for stupidity. Some clever dick on the internet didn't find the great loophole in all of the world's law. Bitch snitch. God dang, you're right. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. God dang, you're right. Moorish Empire. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. Moorish Empire. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. The late evening U.S. people. Hi, everybody. How are we doing? Everything is going straight to hell in a handbasket here behind the scenes. Yeah, for some reason, again, we're not connecting to Rumble, so sorry, Rumble. Don't know what to tell you. Of course, you don't know what I'm saying because it's not connecting, is it? So let me just send him a message here. Connecting again. Well, we're off to a great start. And also, for some reason, during the introduction there, my microphone boom stand thing or my microphone swing arm broke. It just kind of snapped in half, so it's balanced precariously here on the edge of my desk. The slightest little motion, and my microphone is going to give up the ghost, and I will have to come up with a different sort of arrangement midstream. But we're doing okay. Still not sure what the deal with Rumble is, but whatever. We're here, and that's all that really matters, right? Shh, don't tell the Rumble people. Welcome to part 3 of the Sandra Birchmore killer cop case. We're having trouble getting through this. It's a rough case. This is the last bit here. We're going to read the second part, the second half of the internal affairs report on the Stoughton Police Force's investigation into the defendant in the federal murder charges, Matthew Farwell, and his grooming of Sandra Birchmore from the time she was like 13 years old, eventually leading up to her pregnancy in her early 20s and being murdered allegedly by Matthew Farwell, and then having him stage the scene to make it look as if she committed an act of self-deletion. The internal affairs investigation in Stoughton, Massachusetts expanded beyond that. And as we saw in part 1, go back and watch part 1 if you haven't after this, so you can see what you missed. But their internal affairs investigation revealed that not only was Matthew Farwell, Officer Matthew Farwell of the Stoughton Police Force, involved in this grooming and sexual predation of this girl for nearly a decade. But his twin brother Police officer William McNamara was apparently involved with her, too, allegedly as well. And their I guess you would call him their supervisor, or their this was what would you call him? He was they were underneath him, so to speak, in the police explorers unit they had there at the police department. The guy that was in charge of the explorer program, man by the name of Devine, of course. He apparently also was involved with her. And as we're going to go through the second half of the internal affairs report, there are likely others that were also involved with the sexual exploitation, let's call it, of Sandra Birchmore. So it's not a lovely story, but you know, it's one that's got to be told. As we talked about that yesterday, this is not a fun feel-good story. It's not even something we can make really make jokes about, because it's that horrific. It's that serious. But today is the last day. This is part 2 of this. It's the 4th video we've done in relation to the Sandra Birchmore case. It's likely to be the last one for a while. They've just had the federal indictment. They've indicted him for murder of a witness or victim, and various other federal crimes, like wire fraud and abuse of rights under color of law. So it's gonna be a while before things happen. My only request is that the feds, while they've got him in the federal penitentiary waiting trial, they keep him alive until trial happens. Don't let him take the easy way out. He's got 4 options in this case. 1, he walks scot-free on a not guilty verdict. 2, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. 3, the federal death penalty. Or 4, he takes himself out of the equation. Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. Keep him alive. Make him go through the system. Make him stick around. That's the only thing I really have to say. But again, this is really all that's been filed right now. The initial indictment, the application for detention to keep him in jail until trial, and the motion in support of that motion, and this internal affairs report. That's really all we have access to right now. And as this thing progresses, we'll get more information, we'll get more documents, more evidence, and we'll report it as it comes in. But again, this is the very, very beginning of a federal prosecution. It's likely to take quite some time. Plus, I would expect that there would be some motion from the Norfolk County Police and the Canton Police, the Massachusetts State Police, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office to start bringing some criminal charges against one or more of these people. And also the FBI investigation is still ongoing. That's where we are in this case. Beginning, it's going to take a while to develop, but we'll be here. But as I said at the beginning, this is probably the last day that we're going to be talking about it for quite some time, unless there's some other significant developments. I've got to move this microphone. I don't want everything to collapse. Okay. Don't touch anything. I need to get a new microphone stand. Cool. That's really it. There's really nothing else to do here. We've just welcomed all of you here. Thank you so much. We've, as always, have our emotional support potato pig dogs lined up and ready to go if need be, if the call is answered, if we unlock that particular achievement, they will be here. We've got Strawberry and Yoda on the floor here right next to me, waiting for their 15 minutes of fame. If we get to that point, we'll just have to see. That's all kind of up to everybody else except me. So let me look at things here before we bring up the second half of the internal affairs report. Just give me one quick second. Sorry about that. Like I said, I had to switch. I had everything set up, but then I had to switch browsers because of the connectivity issue at the beginning. Oh yeah, that's why I was late. For some reason, StreamYard's acting up and it's not liking to connect, as I mentioned. I had everything set up, but then I had to switch from Edge to Chrome, and that's where we are. All right. Okay, Sonia or Chris is helping us out here with 10 Legal Vices memberships. That gets a definite foghorn for that one.
Gotcha, bitch.
Well, that's not the foghorn, is it? This is the foghorn. Sorry about that, Sonia or Chris. He's gifted 10 Legal Vices memberships. If you're one of those awesome people that got the 10 Legal Vices memberships, make sure you give him a super special shout out. That'd be Crystal Pond, Saddle Up Vicky Sue, Helena Handbasket, hey, I like that, Salty Dog, Holly, Allie Lawson, Annika74, Johnny Reb, Book Hermit, and Oana Maria. There we go. Though, if you're one of those lucky peeps, make sure you give Sonia or Chris a super special thanks. All right, that's drawn first blood in the membership gifting and donations towards emotional support potatopig.com. So thank you very much for that. We will continue later as any chats or messages like that come up. We'll pull them up and read them at that time. Otherwise, I'll try to pay as much attention as I can to chat. But in these reading heavy things, it takes a while, and there's not a lot to. Not a lot of time to look at chat, but I do try to catch things out of the peripheral vision just to see what's going on. Occasionally we'll take some breaks. All right. I have to just check one more thing here. I apologize. I said I had to change everything on the fly. And let's see. I'm just thinking my lights look awfully damn bright. No, it looks like they're right where they should be. Don't know why it looks so bright to me. I mean, maybe it's because I'm such a bright personality. That's probably it, huh? Let's see if we can go down a little bit. There we go. Let's just bring it down a notch. It was awfully washed out. All right, let's go. Let us go. Share the screen. This is part 2 of the internal affairs report from the Stoughton police. I'm probably going to sneeze at some point here too. Dang it. we're just doing great tonight, aren't we? Well, tonight for me, the morning for you guys. I try to get here on time, but no, we're 14 minutes in again, as always. I tried to start a little bit earlier. Yep, here we go. This is page 30. If you want to watch this is a 60-page report. The first 30 pages we did yesterday. The last 30 pages we're going to do today. So let's get into it. Oh gosh, I gotta move this. I don't break. If you knew how delicately balanced this microphone thing was, I guarantee you at some point tonight this whole thing is going to come crashing down on me, and I'm going to have to find an alternate stand in the middle of the stream, and it's going to be really embarrassing. All right, people, enough chatter from me. Let's get our midstream our intermission, wipe the slate, and then dive straight into this, shall we? I'm ready to do that. So let's go.
This is a brief intermission.
You're very much appreciated for saying that I'm appreciated. I appreciate that.
This is a brief intermission.
Thank you very, very much. I'm going to have a search and or seizure. More likely the seizure. I appreciate you.
This is a brief intermission.
I appreciate you. Let's go, people. Are we ready? Now, we are going to start part 2 of the internal affairs report from the Stoughton police in the matter of their investigation of Matthew Farwell in relation to the death and murder of Sandra Birchmore, his brother, William Farwell, and another gentleman, quote unquote gentleman, by the name of Officer Devine. And we'll be introduced to more characters as this part 2 continues.
So we're starting on page 30. Again, if you want to watch read the first 30 pages, that would be in our stream from yesterday. This is part 2. Part 1 was the previous one from this. We're good to go. Let's rock and roll with this. William Farwell. This is the brother of Matthew Farwell, who has been charged with the murder, federally charged with murder of a witness, Sandra Birchmore. William Farwell tendered his resignation to Chief McNamara via Patrol Union President Barber. The resignation was effective August 1, 2022. An interview was drafted. Had William Farwell been interviewed, he would have been asked a series of questions that are detailed in Exhibit 14. So as we mentioned briefly yesterday, they interviewed him. They wanted to interview him again, and they had identified him as a subject of an investigation, not just a witness to what happened. So they wanted him to pull him in on this internal affairs investigation. So he resigned, sort of along the lines of, okay, it's a police internal affairs investigation. Well, I ain't police no more, so you don't get to interview me. On August 5, 2022, somebody were served with notices of witness interviews for interviews that were to take place on Thursday, August 11, 2022. On August 12, 2022, I inquired of the school department about school records that could be in existence for somebody. So again, they're expanding their net of people that they can interview in relation to this to find out exactly what these officers did with respect to Sandra Birchmore. So they're going checking school records, looking for other people, trying to find more people to investigate or to question at least. I was interested in guidance, adjustment, and school psychologist records to include notes. I received a reply on Monday, August 15th, 2022, that only academic records existed and that what I was seeking no longer existed. On Monday, August 15th, 2022, I was made aware by Chief McNamara that Robert Devine had resigned from his position as a patrol officer. See, this is really interesting. At one point, he was the deputy chief of the department, but when he retired, he was only a patrolman. I'm really curious as to how one goes from being deputy chief to patrolman. I have no idea if something happened, but normally you go up and not down to the bottom. So he resigned from his position as a patrol officer, effective Tuesday, August 16th, 2022. The letter to Chief McNamara indicated that he was filing for retirement, among other discussions. Devine requested that if there was any new area to cover with him concerning this investigation, to send it to him in writing. I mailed a series of questions to Devine, Exhibit 16, and he later replied by mail in Exhibit 19. Hey, Derek C., what's up? Good morning to you. On Monday, August 22nd, 2022, I began compiling PDF files from the Cellbrite program onto a terabyte drive. And again, for those of you, just to catch you up to speed, if you didn't see this yesterday, they got the victim, Sandra Birchmore's laptop. And these officers were saying they had no communication, almost none and no communication with the victim in this case. Well, they went through her laptop and found not 50,000 messages, 50,000 pages of communications with all three of these officers and other people as well, friends and things. So then they took the information that had been synced with their phone and they put it in the Cellbrite program, which is what police officers use to analyze data when they take your phone, and that was a little bit more manageable. So he was compiling these PDF files from the information that he got from the Cellbrite program onto a terabyte drive to permanently preserve the documents as they are too large to print. Some excerpts of communication from those drives were pulled to create exhibits for interviews. On Wednesday, August 24, 2022, Private Investigator L'Italien, who was a retired police officer, returned to me all raw data that had been contained on thumb drives that he said had been given by me so that he could collaterally review the investigative data. I wiped these files clean as they were redundant to exhibits that are referenced in this report, and I destroyed the thumb drive. So there's no loose copies. There's no loose copies of this data floating around out there. On Thursday, August 25, 2022, I received via first-class mail a letter from Robert Devine. In response to my questions that were emailed, Devine's response was received by me after I documented his credibility assessment as part of this report. I maintain this assessment despite Devine's response. They found him not credible. I assessed Devine's responses to be consistent with his credibility. Devine opened this response by indicating, of course, I desire to cooperate. His response to the third question outrageously makes claims about accounts being hacked. It was the old I've been hacked complaint. Oh, those aren't my text messages. I've been hacked. I performed an IMC in-house records check of Devine and located no incident reports in which Devine reports being hacked or is the victim of a computer crime. Note, he is listed as victims of other crimes such as A and B, PO. That'd be assault and battery, and I'm not sure what PO would be. This response is a consistent theme that was developed and employed throughout the investigation of Paul White. June 2015 investigation. Person interviewed. So here's some of the people that they interviewed to go through here. Private investigator Latalian and I interviewed somebody at MPTC Randolph on Tuesday, December 21, 2021 at approximately 10:30 a.m. The person was accompanied by someone else. The following summarizes the interview. Heavily redacted, but we can glean a few things from it. So we know it's a he, it's a male. He is friendly with the Farwell brothers and Officer Devine. So this is a guy that knows all three of the people that are being investigated openly by the Internal Affairs. But he would not describe the relationship as a close friendship. This guy met Sandra Birchmore when something. He was not certain of the exact time frame of this. He befriended Sandra prior to his employment we don't even know what he does. She would often visit something, is familiar with the difficulties that Sandra Birchmore encountered in life. So I guess he knew she had a troubled past and whatnot. He is familiar with Sandra Birchmore's affair, I don't know, with Matthew Farwell. Something relationship, whatever. I don't know what's behind the black box, but it's something about their relationship. He would discourage her from high expectations of where the relationship was headed. So it sounds like she confided in him. And he's like, hey, look, the dude's married. Don't be expecting a lot out of this, or something similar to that. There were discussions between him and Sandra Birchmore that described something. When I inquired about something, he took a break with his with his whatever. He returned to the interview room and He returned to the interview room and indicated that he wanted to consult with legal counsel before proceeding with the remainder of the interview. So apparently it got serious enough with whatever is being described here that he says, hey, I think I might want to talk to my lawyer before we go ahead. So then they have his second interview. A second interview of this person was conducted on February 9, 2022 at 2 p.m. at the Abington Hall in a prearranged conference room. I think we let his name Heel. It seems his name was Heel. Was present with maybe his lawyer. I don't know. Missed that, guys. We discussed use of different social media. Somebody's use of different social media accounts. He told us of the ones that he currently has and previously had something elaborated and a whole lot of redacted text. Not a clue what's there, but there's a lot of it. Matthew Farwell, again, that's the one that's been charged with the murder. Matthew Farwell used some type of location sharing application so he could track the location of Sandra Birchmore. We talked about that a bit. We read lots about that in the initial affidavit we read, where he told her to put a tracking program on her phone, and he would get extremely upset and sometimes physical if she turned off the tracking data and stuff. So he was also familiar with an extensive message that Sandra Birchmore drafted and sent to somebody. The nature of the message was ultimately intended to be sent to Matthew Farwell. Sandra was telling somebody that Matthew was Very, very redacted. Oh, Jill Higgins is saying that this might be Heel. The Heel person might be the comfort dog handler. Okay, that provides a little bit of insight. Do we know anything substantiated about Heel, the comfort dog handler? He's saying he knows a bit about her history, and this, but something. Mander says, quick Google search. Joshua Heel was the school resource officer at the Abington school she went to, was involved in the case and resigned in 2023. Okay. Well, lots of redacted stuff going on here. You can Google his name. There's tons out there about him. The first time I read through this, I didn't even notice that his name was there. Well, there's another interview here on April 6th, 2022. Yes, he's been suspended and now fired from the police department. Okay, interesting. On April 6, 2022, I interviewed Angelique Pirozzi at her home in South Boston. We spoke for a short while before I turned the recorder on about the internal affairs process. We spoke for a short while before I turned the recorder on. I just read that about the internal affairs process. After the recorder was on, Angelique explained that she is Sandra Birchmore's mother's first cousin, Denise Birchmore. She explained when asked her education, current employment, National Education Association, as a legislative advocate. She spoke of her learning of the death of Sandra and her later interview with the Massachusetts State Police. Her goal in being interviewed was to raise awareness about Sandra's relationship with Matthew Farwell and how the relationship had grown toxic prior to the end of Sandra's life. She went on to describe the pressure that Sandra was placing on Matthew Farwell to participate in the baby's life. That was one thing that we read in the affidavit, that she was saying, look, I want you to be part of this baby's life. He's our baby. This is our baby. She wanted his name on the birth certificate, wanted him there while she delivered the baby. And he was more resistant because he had a wife who was 8 months pregnant with her third child while Sandra Birchmore was pregnant with his child. And eventually they sort of reached this deal where he wouldn't have to be involved. And then he allegedly went off and murdered her just to, because people were starting to find out about it. That's the allegations. So she went on to describe the pressure that Sandra was placing on Matthew Farwell to participate in the baby's life. Generally, things were not going well, and Angelique was encouraging Sandra to back off pressuring Matthew. Somebody had breakfast with Sandra a couple of weeks prior to her death. After this, Angelique learned about the pregnancy after communicating with Sandra, giving advice, had concerns for Sandra's well-being based on the fact that she was in a relationship. Jill Higgins says Heel was super creepy. So yeah, we don't know what's back there. Oh, Harlow the comfort dog was made sergeant on Monday. Oh, congratulations, Harlow the comfort dog. Somebody received contact from many of Sandra's friends after Sandra's death. She communicated with them and received a lot of secondhand information about the relationship. She learned that, I'm assuming it's saucy details because it's been redacted. We discussed the Police Explorers program. She was unfamiliar with the program, but described Sandra as, I don't know, but in other places in relation to the Explorers program, she's been described as someone who was infatuated or highly interested. Oh, hey, someone who was highly interested in the police. So maybe that was it. Looks like weirdly we have just connected to Rumble. So if any of you are watching on Rumble, hi, you missed the first 30 minutes because you're unliked and unloved by the internet, apparently. I had problems connecting to you, but now apparently I can be connected to you. So Welcome the 22 people on Rumble that were sitting there waiting for 22 minutes. I mean, the 22 of you that were waiting for 30 minutes. You're here now. Sorry, you missed the first 30 minutes. That's life. Again, sorry, Rumble people. Just StreamYard didn't want to connect with you. Oh, shoot. Crystal Pond said he groomed her all those years, then couldn't deal with her as she got old enough to turn the tables on him. Sounds like that was it. And then he decided to what he thought would be to resolve the problem. But anyway, when we discussed the Explorers program, she was unfamiliar with the program, but described Sandra as something perhaps really interested in cops. I don't know. Had secondhand knowledge that Sandra had babysat for Matthew Farwell and his wife in the past. Oh no, dude was banging her. Dude was grooming her and having sexual relations with her when she was 15. Actually, before he was married to his wife. He was having this inappropriate, groomed, statutory grape relationship with her. And he actually had her in his home babysitting for them after he got married and had children with his wife. Dude, come on. Dude, really? That is just another level of distasteful there. To groom someone from the time they're 15, abuse them sexually, and then have them actually babysit your children. That Sandra had babysat for Matthew Farwell and his wife in the past. Based on her knowledge, notwithstanding it being secondhand, when asked if she believed that Sandra had probably done something, I guess, I don't know. When asked if she thought Sandra was a person who could be something, I really want to know what's here, but when asked if she believed that Sandra Birchmore had been, I'm assuming this is the kind of person that would do this when she'd been, abused. I'm assuming these are the kind of questions that were being asked. Is his wife still wasn't him, didn't do it thing? Bailey B says, has his wife filed for divorce yet? I hope so. I sincerely hope so. There's somebody else here. Contact was made directly by me later by private investigator L'Italien by phone in an attempt to interview this person. This investigation identified somebody as a long-time and close friend of Sandra Birchmore. See, this one, they're not even telling us this person's name. So apparently this is a very sensitive to their investigation person. After discussions with somebody, she did not want to be interviewed in a formal capacity. She was later interviewed by telephone by private investigator L'Italien. See inventory summary below. Somebody else here. I made contact with somebody else through investigative means. He provided a cell phone. So now we're talking about a male that is being questioned relating to this matter. He provided a cell phone for somebody else, indicating that so he got a hold of this person. This person provided a cell phone to somebody else. After several attempts by me and later by private investigator L'Italien and private investigator Fries, this person would not respond and ultimately was not interviewed by me. She was interviewed by phone by private investigator L'Italien. See interview summary below. And we'll be reading these summaries at the end. Said there's a lot of redactions, but there's still enough to glean a little bit of information from them. Now, Officer Robert Devine. We're back to him. On April 11th, 2022. Officer Devine was interviewed by the MPTC at the MPTC headquarters in Randolph, Massachusetts. Private investigators L'Italien and Fries conducted the interview. Attorney Patrick Bryan was present to represent Devine on behalf of the patrolmen's union. So it was his union lawyer, not necessarily his criminal lawyer. So that's interesting. The interview is summarized below. Let's see how much of this you believe and how much of it conflicts with information we already know from the indictment and the affidavits and the motion filed by the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Devine took control of the Police Explorers in approximately 2003. He stated that it was in existence prior to his assignment as the juvenile officer. He was ordered to run the program by the former chief, Cachopa. After taking over, Devine gave the first group that he took on the option of making the program less about scouting and to run it like a junior police academy. I think in one place they referred to it as a paramilitary style organization. So they seems like they took the scouting component out of it because it's generally affiliated with the scouting program, and to run it like a junior police academy. The group went with this option, and the program remained that way until it ended. Devine described the program, its structure, rank, ride-alongs, and age group, 13 to 18, requirement for parental consent, as well as advertising for the program were also discussed. It's like ROTC, it's more like scouting. It's like scouts, but they provide a real-world component to it. You have like the police explorers. We didn't have the police explorers in my hometown. I can't remember what the explorer group in my hometown was, but it's sort of like scouts with a real world component to it. Devine met with victim Sandra Birchmore when she entered the program in 2011 at age 14. He was familiar with the difficult home life that she had both while in school as an explorer and as an adult. When asked if he kept in touch with her, Devine said that he had not, but that Sandra Birchmore would find him, but she never had his cell phone. He discussed her obsession with police officers. He would meet her while he was on duty, and she would offer to bring him coffee, etc. They would typically talk for a while, and then he would leave. This occurred about once per week. So notice how he is describing this as, her pursuing him, her pursuing other police officers. She's the groupie. They're just trying to fend off the advances of this young woman. That's how he's couching this. Devine denied having any type of social interaction with Sandra Birchmore outside of his employment with the town. Devine discussed how Sandra Birchmore would exaggerate stories and spoke of her telling him of something that's redacted. So, and now not only is he doing, she was the one that was hounding us. She's obsessed with us police officers, with us handsome police officer types. Not only is he doing that, he's doing, I don't know what she told other people, but she exaggerates all of her stories. She's known to exaggerate and lie, so you can't believe anything that she told anybody else because she exaggerates. This is setting up some ghosting here. This is doing the total ghost job here. This is gaslighting. Well, I guess it's more gaslighting than ghosting, isn't it? I was going to say it's kind of a little combination of both, but it's mostly gaslighting, I guess. Devine discussed an encounter where Sandra Birchmore approached him at Doyle's Pub in Brockton around the time of her 21st birthday. She approached him at the bar and he left. Oh, what an upstanding guy. She approached him when she was 21 and he left the bar. Devine denied that he communicated with Sarah Birchmore on any texting, messaging, social media platform, burner phone, Snapchat, or otherwise. Well, that's contradicted by the evidence that's been found, hasn't it? He spoke of the something. I'm assuming the relationship between at least Matthew Farwell, because we get into that in the next paragraph. Devine found out about the relationship between Matthew Farwell and the victim Sandra Birchmore, quote, when he got put on leave. Had no clue about it until he got put on leave. And later qualified. Oh, so he qualified his response that Sandra Birchmore had mentioned the relationship previously as a consenting adult. She spoke to Devine about her relationship with William Farwell. Devine did not believe her. Sure. Well, now, Devine admitted to engaging in flirtatious behavior with a former police explorer and police intern named somebody else. So remember what we were saying by when I was saying I highly doubt she was the only victim. She was the only victim of this type of behavior from these three officers. And I find it hard to believe there was only these three officers involved. Well, here we have another person, another former police explorer, like Sandra Birchmore was, that the Devine has admitted to engaging in flirtatious behavior with. Now, remember, this former police explorer and police intern, the explorer age is 13 to 18. He also spoke about former police explorers that he has kept contact with as adults. Right. Devine denied knowledge of the Farwell brothers being accused of impersonating police officers when they were teenagers and pulling cars over. Well, that's interesting. It seems that the Farwell brothers, defendant Matthew Farwell and his twin brother William, had apparently been accused of impersonating police officers, and they were pulling cars over. And we all know that a lot of those fake cops pulling people over stories involve the I can give you a ticket or we can come to an agreement kind of thing. Hopefully that didn't happen, but they apparently have been accused of impersonating police officers previously. Well, the second interview with Robert Devine. A second interview had been scheduled for Thursday, August 18th, 2022. Devine resigned pending his application for retirement. The former from employment prior to the interview date. The resignation was effective August 16th, 2022, 2 days before his second interview. And in a letter from the appointing authority accepting the resignation, there was a reference to retirement. Devine authored a letter. Well, he's written a letter that was delivered to Chief McNamara by me that I received from Union President Barber. So Devine writes a letter, gives it to the Union President. The Union President gives it to this dude, and this dude gives it to Chief McNamara. The letter had Chief McNamara's address in the heading, but was addressed to the Stoughton Police Department. In the letter, Devine harshly criticized the investigation, and in the second paragraph, requests that if we have new ground to cover, to send it to him in writing. Exhibit 17 encompasses this letter and the letter that I sent to Devine via first-class mail with a deadline to respond by Friday, August 26th, 2022. Yeah, so this is the guy. Oh, you want to bring me in for a second interview? I quit. I'm out. I'm not even going to wait for my retirement to be processed. I just quit now, 2 days before the interview. And by the way, you're just on a witch hunt. You're just trying to get things. I'm criticizing this interview into the improper grooming and sexual abuse of minors. I disagree with this investigation. Or something along those lines. Another interview. On April 11th, 2022, I interviewed somebody, and somebody was present with somebody during that interview. Something here redacted. This person was familiar with the fact that Sandra Birchmore was in the Police Explorers program because they spoke about it They were unfamiliar with members of the Stoughton Police Department other than Sandra Birchmore speaking about some members that Sandra Birchmore pointed out to him while they were driving together. So he's just driving around and he goes, I know that guy, this cop. Oh, that's that officer. Beyond that, he doesn't know any of the people. When asked about a text message that somebody had sent to Sandra, that he maybe had sent to Sandra about asking somebody for money and money owed. So this is something that comes up now and a little bit later in this, that apparently she owed money to somebody. I'd say it's not clear who she owed money to or why, but apparently she owed money to somebody and somebody wanted money back. Well, when asked about a text message that somebody had sent to Sandra Birchmore asking something about money and money owed, had absolutely no recollection of the conversation. He was shown text messages in which he threatens to disclose Sandra Birchmore's relationship with members of the Stoughton Police Department if she would not repay the debt owed to the girls. I don't know what that means. I don't know what debt owed to the girls means. But so this guy here is saying, oh yeah, I don't know any of the members of the police department, just the people she's pointed out as we're driving down the street. But here he seems to know that she's involved in a relationship with one of the police officers, which sort of contradicts what he said just in the previous paragraph. He recalled that Sandra Birchmore had mentioned something Matthew and William Farwell in their past conversations. Boy, he had mentioned that Sandra Birchmore had mentioned something Matthew. I just hope that's not a verb in there that has bad. I don't know what's behind these boxes. I wish I did, because it's probably not as bad as my brain makes it out to be. Mystery Singer says Farwell under federal indictment and Proctor and Kevin Albert being suspended is only the beginning. FBI has a 20-year investigation on Canton and Stoughton police. They'll indict the Alberts and Morrissey and next. Well, see, that was the thing we've talked about a few times here. Apparently, from the Karen Reed trial, because this murder happened in Canton, Massachusetts. The first officer on the scene was Officer Lank, who was also, ironically, I believe he was the first, if not one of the first officers on scene for the Karen Reed incident as well. Kevin Albert showed up on day 2 of the investigation. So and I think that's how the FBI stumbled onto the Karen Reed case, was through this case. We know that this case was investigated first. And during this investigation, they also became aware of the Karen Reed situation. So I'm just thinking it was probably between the officers involved, plus, it was still it was the same district attorney's office. So yeah, there's probably, and the FBI said it when they gave their press conference when they indicted Matthew Farwell. They alluded to the fact that the investigation is still ongoing. There's other people that are being investigated, and things might be happening in the future. Yeah, great success. That's the question I want. What's under the blacked out text? So it's probably not nearly as serious as what goes through my brain when I see lots of redacted stuff. It's Lank, not Lank, and no, they're halfway across the country from each other. On April 4, 2022. Oh wait, sorry, we're back up here. So there's something about he apparently threatened Sandra to expose a relationship with the, and now see, this is the thing. It's a plural. To disclose Sandra Birchmore's relationship with members, plural. not just her relationship with Matthew Farwell, but her relationship with other officers. And from all of this, we're gleaning that not only was she being abused by Matthew Farwell, but apparently also William Farwell and Devine were involved with her as well. He recalled that Sandra Birchmore had mentioned something Matthew and William Farwell in their past conversations. On April 4, 2022, I interviewed somebody at approximately 10 a.m. in my office for a prearranged interview. We're not even getting anything about this investigation, this particular interview. Somebody had Sandra Birchmore something, perhaps tutored or something, because Sandra struggles in the area of math. Sandra would have been in the 7th grade and approximately age 12 or 13. As a general impression, the person indicated when asked that Sandra was socially, I'm going to say, not well developed or backwards or isolated. I'm just assuming there was some social skills that were lacking there. She would often accuse students of bullying her and spent a lot of time in guidance. This person felt that Sandra would exaggerate her accusations. She was a good kid with a kind heart. When I read the list of symptoms that described, I'm assuming she had some sort of depression or anxiety or some sort of something. So because he's describing a list of symptoms. Don't know what it was. But when asked if she discussed drama at the Stoughton Police Department, this person spoke of Sandra talking to her. Okay, so we know it's a woman. Spoke of Sandra talking to her about this. She indicated that Sandra was obsessed with the Stoughton police. She indicated that Sandra mentioned the high level of stress and officers seeking outlets to relieve the stress. Yeah, read between those lines. Sandra mentioned the high level of stress and officers seeking outlets to relieve the stress. She punctuated her remarks by telling Sandra that something redacted here. She reconnected with Sarah as an adult via social media and eventually phone, and was aware that Sandra also reconnected with other former teachers. Okay, so it was a former teacher of hers. Okay. So the other, see, this is what you have to do when there's so many redactions. You have to look for these little clues, these little hints of what's going on to see what you can glean from this. So this person is apparently a teacher, because it talks about other former teachers. Sandra never mentioned the names of department members that she had associations with when speaking with this person. Scotus says, I'm going to vomit. Yeah, I don't blame you. And again, this is the heavily redacted stuff. We went through the non-redacted horrific texts in the shit that went on between Birchmore and Matthew Farwell in the first 2 shows we did about this case. Ms. Kager says, I need a shower now. Right. Oof. Let's see. Don't have any memberships or super chats or things to read. So let's continue, shall we? We'll read for about another 5 minutes. Then we'll take another little palate cleanser at the halfway point here. Another interview occurred. Yes, Joe and Charlie, trigger warnings in place. Absolutely. That's why at the bottom of my screen here, underneath legal vices, all the trigger warnings. We have all of the trigger warnings in place today. If you're triggered by basically anything, just know that we could be discussed today. On April 13th, 2022, somebody was interviewed by Private Investigator Fries and I at MPTC headquarters in Randolph, Massachusetts at approximately 10:24 a.m. The nature of the investigation was discussed. Somebody had been employed somewhere. Somebody named some of the members of the Stoughton Police Department with whom he associates. So he associates with some members of the police department. It's mostly members of the midnight to 8 a.m. shift and some 4 to midnight personnel. He graduated from Stoughton High School with the victim Sandra Birchmore. So I guess they're in the same class in high school. He did not associate with her during high school. He is a part-time employee somewhere. The first time that he saw Sandra Birchmore after high school was when he came to the store on or about the year 2019 and sought information on a license to carry application. Somebody Tactical hosts the Massachusetts Basic Firearm Safety class, which is a requirement for the first-time LTC applicants, so license to carry applicants. They became friends on Facebook and began talking on occasion. He ran into Sandra Birchmore one night at the House of Brews and spoke briefly. They were there with a separate group of friends. He maintained that the relationship was merely an acquaintance. They met on one occasion for pizza at Town Spa, and the conversation was casual. They communicated by cell phone, text messaging, and Facebook prior to that. At the Town Spa, he felt that she was communicating with him because she knew he was an something. And she would often contact him about calls, I guess, that were happening around town that she saw, and she would drive around town. He characterized when asked that Sandra Birchmore was erratic and the conversation at the Town Spa was all over the place. He was aware of her strong desire to become a police officer. He is aware of who William Farwell, Matthew Farwell, and Robert Devine are. He does not socialize with any of them. He was shown a record of text messages that had been sent by Sandra Birchmore to a group chat in where she claims to have been invited to Robert Devine's house and that she was going to something who is a friend of hers. He was unfamiliar with this discussion and denied ever having been to Robert Devine's house, with or without Sandra Birchmore, emphasis added. He was unaware of any communication that was happening between Robert Devine and Sandra Birchmore, and Sandra Birchmore never mentioned the subject. She discussed her relationship with Matthew Farwell over text messaging. So I get, but how much did he know? How much did she say? How much was he aware of? She discussed her relationship with Matthew Farwell over text messaging. He was aware as of June 2019, approximately, that Sandra Birchmore had been in an off again, I'm assuming sexual relationship with Matthew Farwell. He was uncertain of when that relationship began. He did not believe Sandra Birchmore because she had a reputation dating back to high school for embellishing stories. This is the second non-police officer that said she exaggerates. How much did this hamper her situation with people not trusting her? I guess we'll probably never know. Wasn't it one of the cops, maybe Devine, who had the fake Facebook Officer Marty Riggs, like the guy from Lethal Weapon? I believe that was Devine, and that comes up here again a little bit later. So he had the alias on Facebook. When offered a closing comment, he stated that there came a point shortly after meeting Sandra Birchmore at the Town Spa that he had to block her contact on multiple platforms because she was making him uncomfortable. She would show up to locations where he was hanging out with friends. Strawberry's panting up a storm here. Yeah. Yoda's snoring peacefully and Strawberry's panting up a storm. There's another interview. On Thursday, June 9, 2022, private investigator L'Italien and Fries interviewed somebody in her home. So now we're interviewing another female here. There's a lot of females here that we're talking to. Both investigators were provided a copy of the Massachusetts State Police investigative report. Copy below is the interview summary of this person. Here's investigator's address. June 13th, Deputy Chief Brian Holmes, Taunton Police, subject, something, 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 something. People not trusting her is part of what made her an appealing target. I would imagine so, being socially awkward, some handsome, very loosely handsome police officers. If she did have an infatuation with the police, could have viewed them as attractive, handsome police officers paying attention to little old her. Nobody, other people don't trust her. They knew that it's a set of circumstances that are ripe for grooming. No question. No question. This child's brain was groomed by a stable of grown men. Well, it certainly seems that way, doesn't it? Allegedly. Wink, wink. Poor kids sound so vulnerable and lonely. Those are the ones that get preyed upon. The vulnerable, lonely ones. And that's the shit of it. Here's this interview with this person. June 9th, 2022. On Thursday, June 9, 2022, at 5:30 p.m., I met with this person. The meeting took place at her home in an outside patio area. I had spoken to her by phone earlier in the week, and she agreed to meet with me to discuss her knowledge about Robert Devine and the Stoughton Police Department. Explorers from the early 2000s. She had previously met with and was interviewed by Lieutenant John Fanning and Trooper Kathleen Prince of the Massachusetts State Police regarding this same topic. Mr. Robert Fries of Bridgewater accompanied me on this interview and was present for its entirety. She read an article in the Boston Globe relative to the death investigation of Sandra Birchmore. The article prompted her to contact the district attorney's office. So this is a woman who read about the death and thought, hey, I have something to tell somebody about this case. So she reaches out to the district attorney's office. On April 19th, 2022, she met with and was interviewed by Lieutenant Fanning and Trooper Prince. During the course of our interview, we referred to the report of the state police interview, which was written by Trooper Prince. A lot of redactions. A lot of redactions. And Death's Angel, a new member. Thank you so much for being the second person to contribute this evening and to move us ever closer to the emotional support potato pig dog cam. Death's Angel became a YouTube member of where is the screen here? Of the Clean and Sober crew. Welcome to the Clean and Sober crew, Death's Angel. We appreciate you being here, and we hope you'll stick around for a little while. No. We hope you stick around for a long time. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome aboard, people. All right, so we have this big redaction here. Lots of redaction. All the redaction happening. We don't know exactly what was said there, but I'm sure it had something to do with salacious details. Robert Devine was an officer at the school who acted as a lunchroom and hallway monitor, and also chaperoned a group of kids who stayed after school for open gym. Are you seeing a problem here? We have this officer who is allegedly involved with this young woman who had been groomed from the time she was 13. He hangs around a school where there's young people. He's the officer of the school. He hangs around people at the school where there's young people. And then he even hangs around with the students in gym after hours. The interviewee, she was very open about having a crush on Devine during that time frame. Oh, Jonathan Irwin's with a $2 super chat. Test palate cleanser. The test palate cleanser worked. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. We will take our break here. We'll take our few minute break here in just a little bit. One more page and we'll be there. She was very open about having a crush on Officer Devine during that time frame. She stated that she wrote him a letter and explained the content of the letter, saying, yeah, basically professing my love for him and how beautiful I thought he was. It's very cringing and embarrassing. But yeah, I wrote him a very detailed letter about my feelings for him. Her memory was she wrote the letter in October and had a very good memory of it because the events of September 11, 2001 had just occurred. She continued that she handed Devine the letter, and although he didn't read it in her presence, he gave her a, quote, hug. It's interesting that hug is in quotation marks. That's kind of telling as well. Macon McCarthy says, Jeff does have a cool voice. Well, thanks, I guess. I just have a voice. I don't know how cool it is, but I've got a voice. But I think it's interesting that they say he gave her a hug. And the hug is in quotation marks. But he gave her a hug and was, quote, laughing a little bit when she saw him the following day. So gives her a quote unquote hug the first day. Then when she sees him the following day, he was laughing a little bit. I asked if he ever addressed the fact that this letter was not appropriate considering her age and her role. And she answered, not at all. Did he ever pull you aside and go, hey, little girl, you ain't got no business writing a letter to an adult male like me. You should not be writing this shit. It is ridiculously I appreciate the sentiment, but ain't no way you're supposed to be writing that shit. That is nope, nothing, not at all, is what she answered. Oh, Megan McCarthy. Megan McCarthy was responding about the dogs liking my voice. Okay, the people don't like my voice, but the dogs like it. All right, I'll take that. The dogs like the voice. Not so much the people, but the dogs. All right. Okay, so anyway, I asked if he ever addressed the fact that this letter was not appropriate considering her age and his role, and she answered, not at all. When I asked specifically about the hug, she described it as definitely a squeeze. That sounds like a little more than a hug, doesn't it? Not an innocent little hug. It was definitely a squeeze. And continued that Devine often hugged students, and he always initiated the hugs. When asked if Devine ever touched her sexually, she was clear he never did. So he gives this very young woman definitely a squeeze. He hugs the students. He always initiates the hugs. Yeah. Siobhan says, oh God, sometimes people hug in a way that you just know is to feel your boobs. Yeah, people do that to me all the time. They just want to feel my boobs. They want to feel my moobs. I know what you're talking about. It's a rough life. All right. Well, moving on here. I referenced the state police report, paragraph 3, and asked about the occasion when he brought her into his office during open gym. She stated it occurred a couple of months after she gave him the letter. So she gives him this inappropriate letter. And then a couple of months, he calls her into his office during the open gym after school hours. She had heard he was engaged to be married, and she was sobbing. Devine led her to a room that she thought could have been a gym teacher's office. Once inside, Devine closed the door and lifted her onto the desk. Devine told her she was a knockout and that he was going to take me on a date when I turned 18. That's some fucking sick shit right there. Okay, I get the little girl being infatuated with the macho tough guy police officer. And you're getting married, you're doing the little girl sobby thing. But the fact it got to that point, when this should have been a lecture on don't be doing this, and this is wildly inappropriate, and you should not have these feelings about me. None of that was ever done. But instead, he pulls her out of gym after school hours, takes her into another office, and lifts her up on a desk. That's like literally putting your hands on her waist or whatever and sitting her on a desk and saying you're a knockout and I'm going to take you on a date when you turn 18. And that totally corresponds with the affidavit in the Matthew Farwell indictment, where he's talking to her when she's 15, going, I wish we had started fucking years earlier. And then when they're having sex, he's telling her to role play as if she's 13 or 14 and role play as his younger sister in a non-consensual way. This shit that Devine is doing is right in line with that sort of behavior that Matthew Farwell was pulling off. So anyway, he says you're a knockout and he was going to take me on a date when I turned 18. She continued that he gave her a hug and a kiss on the forehead. Alone in a room with a 17-year-old girl, he's kissing her on the forehead. What could possibly be acceptable about that? When asked to describe the distance from the gym to this office, she stated it was a good distance from the other kids and nobody could have heard them talking. That's about as predatory as you can get. I asked if there were ever any other adults present during open gym. She stated there was occasionally another officer, but never anyone who worked for the school system. There was never anybody who worked for the school system there. But along with this alleged predator officer, there was occasionally another police officer present, another police officer in a room with young ladies after school with no supervision from anyone from the school. She stated that there were generally 8 to 15 kids present for open gym and offered the Farwells were there. She stated that they were teenagers at the time and they were there for all of it. They were under his wing. And we talked about this previously. We talked about this yesterday, that it seems like Devine may have groomed the Farwells sort of as his proteges, so that they could all be in on the girls together. He was in charge of the Explorer program when the Farwell brothers were going through the Explorer program. He's the officer that's hanging around the gym after school when the Farwells are hanging around the gym after school. So The implication, at least here, seems to be that there was some sort of mentor protege relationship between Devine and the Farwells. You know, indoctrinating them into the club. Because, like I said, one person doing this pedo shit is rogue. Two people doing it is a conspiracy, is a team. Three people's a club, and there's more than three people in a club. She offered that the Farwells were there. She stated they were teenagers at the time, and they were there for all of it. They were under his wing. They knew I was obsessed and in love. They were there for all of it. There was one point where I believe it was Matt Farwell. I sobbed in his arms because he, Devine, was getting married. They were there for all of it. She later added the Farwells something by Devine. I don't remember, mentored or whatever by Devine. I don't know. She continued something. All right, let's get to the end of her interview. God, never mind. That's a long interview. Let's take a 1 minute break here. 1 minute palate cleanser. You know, go take a restroom break, grab a drink, grab some popcorn, get yourself a snack. Let's just cleanse our palate a little bit. I'm going to pour another little drink here. Let's see. We are currently 45. We are currently $41 away from the emotional support potato pig dog cam. We're 41 away from that because Jonathan Irwin just dropped another $2. Says, you guys, time for U.S. politics. No, thank you. Pass. Ugh. Icky politics. Anyway, thank you so much, Jonathan Irwin, for that. 2-minute cat videos. Yeah. All right. I just want to remind everybody here that we currently have 478 people watching this. Welcome, 478 people on YouTube, and we have 44 people watching us late on Rumble because StreamYard wouldn't connect. Sorry, Rumble. The 478 people are the people over from Rumble. That's 500 people you watching. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. I don't take it for granted that you people are here. You could be anywhere doing anything with anybody, and you've chosen to spend your time here with me. And I deeply, deeply appreciate that. Never take any of you for granted. You guys are awesome. We've got 470. Now we got 481 people here on YouTube while we take our little break, and 320 likes. I need, at least in the next 30 seconds, 160 of you get down there and hit that like button. Just do it. You've been here for more than 30 seconds, so clearly you like it enough to stay for a little while. So hit that like button. And I would ask you that if you have not subscribed, please do me a favor and allow me the honor of having your subscription. You guys are what makes the channel possible. We're growing. We're nearing 81,000 subscribers. We're about 424 away from 81,000 subscribers. Pushing closer to that 100K, and the little play button is going to go right over there on the wall. We're getting there. So I would appreciate it if you would be part of the process. If you would let me have your subscription and come back. We're going to be starting the Sarah Boone trial here in a little under a month, in about 3 weeks from now. And starting on Monday, we're going to be doing something that most people will never have an opportunity to see in their life. You remember the Titan submersible that imploded on its journey to the Titanic last June, I believe it was, a year ago, last June. The U.S. Coast Guard, starting on Monday, will be holding open public hearings on their investigation into the implosion. So not a lot of people get to see the U.S. Coast Guard accident investigations live. We'll be covering that because they're going to be streaming those. So join me for probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So we'll be doing that for a week, possibly 10 days. Then we'll have a little bit of a break to do other things like Karen Reed. We've got some other updates on other cases. If you followed the you take care of Maya, the Maya Kowalski trial involving the abuses by the hospital in Florida, there's been some motions filed. I mean, there's been some first filings in the appeals. They were initially awarded upwards of, I think it was $150 million, slightly reduced by the judge, but there's an appeal filed. The appellate documents are starting to come in. We'll have some time to follow that, and it'll be on to the Sarah Boone trial. And we've still got down the road Courtney Clenny, the OnlyFans stabbing model. The retrial of YNW Melly is scheduled for about a year from next week. So there's a lot of things coming up. You don't want to miss any of it. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, just double check to make sure you're still subscribed, please. And as I said, we're going to finish up the last, what do we got? 15 pages? Yeah, we got 15 more pages on this. We'll finish this up, and that will be the end until there is more solid documentation, such as if there's anything more released from the police department, or if there's any new filings or evidence made in the federal law enforcement case. Until then, we'll be focusing on other things. But as soon as there is anything more developing in relation to this case, we'll jump back on it. But today is the last day, and so that's why the like and subscribe poll, which I have just to remind you to do the YouTubey things, just says, are you ready to put this horrific, terrible, awful, horrible case behind us for a while? 48% of you said yes. I am in the yes category. This has been a very, very rough day. We're a fun channel. We like to laugh. We like to joke. We like to hang out with chat. All those things are super fun, but this is definitely not a super fun case. So I want to get back. So I'm in the yes category, but I'm also in the third category. 49% said yes, 28% said no, and 24% said make the stream fun again. Tomorrow, so for an announcement, by the way, for a palate cleanser, tomorrow we will be playing the legal video game. Part 2, it'll be the part 2 of the playthrough of the Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright game playthrough. So you can help me solve a murder. How does that sound? Join me tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m. Eastern, Friday, and we'll be playing Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright, and you, my fellow viewers, can help me solve a murder. So let's do that tomorrow. Kimmy, where did you go? Legal Vices. With the appeal filed in the Kowalski case, does that stop the interest clock on the award damages awarded? Nope, it does not. Now, if they win the appeal, then they would reset the clock basically. Ordinarily, that's the way I understand it. That's the way it works in most places. If you win the appeal, that it adjusts the interest clock depending on what the success of the appeals is. If they completely win outright, then they don't have to pay anything. But if they lose or it's worse, then the interest keeps running, and that interest clock is ridiculous on that amount of money. Yay, Phoenix! Yeah, we'll be doing the Phoenix Wright. We're in part 2, so join us for that. Woohoo! Oh, so some of you are actually excited about the Phoenix Wright. We're just going to do it because it's fun. If they win, yeah, they get an F ton. Absolutely. All right, people. That's cleansed our palates here for the day. 15 more pages to get through in the next 35 minutes or so. And let's see, we've got a track record of almost 2 weeks with every day having the emotional support potato pig dogs unlocked, and we're only $41 away from Doggo Cam at this point. Let's see if we get there before the day is finished. Let's see if we can keep the streak alive. Let's hit the goal, chat. Let's hit the goal. All right, let's go here. back to the serious stuff. Boy, doing that shouting, scratched my throat. All right, back to this girl's interview. This woman's interview. Sorry, I shouldn't call her a girl. Back to the woman's interview. She can. Bye, Franz has been a member for months. We're going all night, chat. Not tonight, but when we do the F It Friday stream, If we clear the, and we're not going to talk about that today, but there is a potential for we're going all night chat, 24-hour stream to come out if we hit that goal. Tonight's goal is just doggo cam. But I like the way you think, Bifrons. We're going all night chat. Okay, let's get back into it. Dang it, I want to get off the screen. There we go. She continued that she regularly visited the police station to see Devine. She lived within walking distance and was allowed to go past the lobby to Devine's office. And Devine isn't putting a stop to this shit. It's a 17-year-old girl that's sobbing because he's getting married, that's openly, interested in him, that's written him a love letter. He's reciprocating, taking her alone into a room, lifting her up on a desk, telling her that she's hot and he's gonna date her when she's 18. And then she keeps coming around to the office, and he's not discouraging this. That's some shiz right there. He was allowed to go past the lobby area to Devine's office. She described an occasion where the shirt she was wearing was revealing of her cleavage, and that Officer Tracy told her to pull up her shirt. So somebody's doing their fucking job and telling her, don't be dressing like that around here. She added that although she was too young to be a formal member of the Explorers program, she attended the meetings at the police station on Wednesday evenings. Well, time the fuck out. I missed that. I missed that paragraph the first time, that sentence the first time. She was too young to be a formal member of the Explorers. I thought when he was saying when you're 18, I'll take you out on a date. I thought it was because she was 17-ish. People, the Explorers, they end at 18. They start at 13. It's 13 to 18. There you go, rare in the history. You fucking hit it right on the you nailed that on the fucking head right there. Yep. Now, normally for the Explorers, it's 13. So that's why Sandra had to wait a year until she turned 13. I think we are talking to this woman about things she experienced when she was 12 years old. Fuck me, I missed that sentence last time I went through this. If she's saying she was too young to be a formal member of the Explorers, that means she was 12 goddamn years old at this time. Okay, this just got a whole nother level. Now I'm going to double down on all the shit I said a minute ago about the pedo stuff. Yeah, this is parallel. This doesn't line up with, this is fucking parallel to that. Holy shit. Yeah, I wish I hadn't noticed that, but oh God. All right, palate cleansing time again. I need to do a brain shift from that. Sonia or Chris, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. 5 Legal Vices membership. Jojo got one. Wait, where did the list go? Jojo got one. Jedi Jen got one. Jeremiah Maddox got one. Mother of Beagles got one. And get back, Loretta. Get back to where you once belonged. Get back, Loretta. You all got Legal Vices gifted memberships from Sonia or Chris. Give Sonia or Chris a super special thanks. And he gets a double ship's bell for that. Thank you. Jack's mom with the $5. I want to hear that the bad guys go to jail at the end of this. Don't want them to win in any sort of way. And at this point, self-deletion, taking themselves out of the game is a win. I want these efforts to be caught kept alive through any means necessary, and suffer for the rest of their miserable fucking lives. Just checked the interest calculator for the Maya case. It's over $7 million just in interest, over $250 million now, right? But they have to appeal. Monsters always pretend to be kind. Twisted minds are gross. Yeah, I just had to do a serious brain shift there when I recognized that it said that she was too young to be a formal member of the Explorers program. This is a 12-year-old girl we're talking about, at 12 or younger. Fuck me. Right. She added that she was too young to be a formal member of the Explorers program. She attended the meetings at the police station on Wednesday evenings. She stated that Devine had provided his instant messenger username to some of the boys in the Explorer group. One of the boys, named John, with the nickname JR, gave her the username, and she attempted to communicate with Devine using this platform. She stated that there were a few short messages between the two, and that her father's girlfriend observed her communicating with Devine on the computer. And I hope Dad's girlfriend knocked the shit out of her and told her to knock this shit off. The girlfriend confronted Devine online, telling him he was a creep. And I'm assuming because it was deleted out, it was redacted, a creep and perhaps a cheese pizza or a PDF file. Mother effer. That he was a creep, and Devine blocked her after that. Yeah, notice how he encourages this. He drug this on. He didn't put a stop to this. He didn't try to put a stop to this. But as soon as an adult says, hey, I know what you're doing, you creep, then he blocks her. Then he's scared and blocks her. Her father's girlfriend's name was somebody is no longer in touch with them. Good for you, Dad's girlfriend. Whoever the hell you are, you deserve a medal. She stated there was a second letter she wrote that was meant for Devine. Her mother found the letter before it was delivered. After her mother found the letter, she stormed over to the police station to confront Devine. We've got good parents here, people. We've got good parents and good girlfriends of parents doing the right thing. Oh my God. So yeah, mom finds this second letter that her very young daughter, her apparently 12-year-old daughter, is writing to this police officer. And she does the right thing and goes ballistic, storms over to the police station to confront Devine. She described her mother as furious because Devine didn't reach out to her or anyone else about her behavior and just scoffed it off a little. Exactly. That would be the thing. Is I can see girls being, young girls being infatuated with it, but it's the responsibility of the adult to go, ho, ho, whoa, time the F out here. No, stop, no. And why she even has, everything was done wrong by Devine in this case. This is insane. Why? Well, I know why Devine didn't reach out to her mother and tell her what her daughter was doing. I know why he didn't do it. It was a rhetorical. Why wouldn't a normal human being reach out to the mother and go, holy shit, are you aware of what your daughter is thinking about me? And look at this letter she wrote me. DeVell says hot for cop, badge bunnies. Nope. A 12-year-old is not a badge bunny. I know it, but oh God. Ugh. So, and he just laughed it off a little. She stated that this is the occasion that led to her not attending the Explorer meetings any longer. It was her memory that it was the decision of her parents that she no longer attend. Thank God for good parents. I wonder if especially if this girl was so hot for Devine when she was 12. She could have been Sandra Birchmore 2.0. I wonder if she realizes how goddamn lucky she has that her parents put a stop to this. I wonder if she realizes how lucky she is that she is not a victim in the worst way of this. Renee Miet says, I was a badge bunny for a couple of years in my late 20s. That's acceptable. That's an acceptable time to be a badge bunny. Paige asks the $1 million question. How many girls weren't so lucky? Say it again. We saw it happening here with this unnamed witness. Sandra Birchmore was not the only one. She next described an occasion on Easter weekend 2002 when she attempted to place a phone call to Devine's home. Oh, you stupid, stupid little girl. It was this event that ended her good relationship with Devine. Yeah, I'm sure Mrs. Devine had a problem with a 12-year-old girl calling the house. She stated that she found his phone number and address in the phone book and that Devine did not provide her this information. Following this, her parents probably did such horrific parental things to her that they needed to redact it. And I would hope it at least involved a sound whooping, and then went to do really, really horrible things to Devine as well. Anyway, following the Easter weekend incident, she no longer interacted with Devine. She did offer him an apology when she saw him in school, but after that, she didn't attend open gym. She stated that there were occasions when she'd see him in Stoughton. She described occasions when she observed him with girls who were middle school aged, driving with him in his personal car. Look at that again. She described occasions when she observed him with girls who were middle school aged, driving with him in his personal car, not a police ride along, in his personal car. There are more victims of this motherfucker out there. If this is 2002, I don't know what the statute of limitations is in Massachusetts. Come forward, victims, for fuck's sakes. This mofo, seriously. OMG, says M. Crow, children in his personal car. Yeah. I told you this gets worse. This is just not about the horrific, horrible things that this monster of a human fecal matter Matthew Farwell allegedly did to Sandra Birchmore from the time she was 13 until he allegedly murdered her. There's more. It gets worse. His twin brother's involved. Devine is involved. There's other girls involved. There's other middle school girl aged children being driven around in his personal car. She further stated there were occasions when she and her friends were walking around town and he'd pull up to talk with them. She stated this occurred at times when he was in a police cruiser and at other times when he was in his own car. If he's in his police car, the only damn question he should have is, why aren't you in school? If he's in his personal car, there's not a single fucking good reason why he should have anything to do with a little girl. She stated this occurred at times when he was in a police cruiser and at other times when he was in his own car. She stated that there was another occasion when she was in the 8th grade. Well, at least she's, God, for fuck's sake, she's in 8th grade now. So what does that make her? 13, 14, maybe, and was smoking a cigarette outside the school. He made a comment to her about the cigarette, and later reported it to her mother. Oh, yeah. You big softy Devine. Oh, you're reporting the cigarette, but not your behavior. Toward the end of the interview, I asked her if she thought Devine was acting as a big brother or father figure to the kids at the school or the kids in the Explorers. To this, she answered, he was definitely not like a father figure. He was definitely not like a father figure. He definitely seemed to be showing off and loving attention from kids and basking in kids admiring him, loving the attention from kids. She insisted that there had never been any type of sexual activity between her and Devine. And if that's the case, she's pretty effing lucky. She should get down on her knees and thank God nightly that that did not occur. Because other people, like allegedly Sandra Birchmore, were not so lucky. She thanked us for meeting with her and stated she would remain available and we could contact her at any time with any further questions. This report is a summary of the interview with her. The interview is approximately 41 minutes in duration and is recorded and later transcribed. A copy of the transcript is as exhibited. It is an exhibit associated with this report, respectfully submitted, Paul J. L. Italian, licensed private investigator. Now, here's another interview. This is where we're getting into the summary of the interviews that took place. All right, we are $10 away from the emotional support potato pig dog cam, in case anybody cares. I was just quickly doing the math there inside my head. $10 away. This is a telephone interview of somebody and a telephone interview of somebody else. On Thursday, how long has that been there? Has that been there a long time? On Thursday, 9 June 2022 at 7 p.m., I spoke by phone with somebody. Earlier in the evening, I had left a message for her, so it's another woman. There's another woman there they're talking to. I left a message for her, and she returned my call. Robert Fries was present for the interview as I spoke to her on speakerphone. She had spoken to the Massachusetts State Police following the untimely death of Sandra Birchmore. She did not wish to meet us in person, nor did she wish to be named as a formal witness to this matter. Unfortunately, while that allows them to, some additional interview or additional investigative routes and possibilities, if somebody doesn't want to have a formal interview and isn't going to cooperate as a formal witness, as helpful as their testimony may be, that makes it useless for a prosecution. If the person doesn't want to give a formal statement and doesn't want to act as a witness. So that's unfortunate, but I get it. This is someone who's like, I don't want my name out there and I don't want to be a witness against the police officers in this town because as we see here, there's perhaps a reason why we should be concerned about the police officers. And ladies and gentlemen, we have made it again. We're there one day. You guys are awesome to the point of ridiculousness. You guys are awesome. We've managed to uphold the continuation of our. Hey, Strawberry, what's up? Hey, what's up, Brooklyn? You can't be over here. You have to go over here. Hey. It's just a dog butt at this point. We've just got dog butt cam. You guys have been so super generous. I can't remember just with the 10-pound sticker. What is the sticker? It appears to be a lemon with a smile on his face. The 10-pound sticker. Winks with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for covering such a tough topic. It's so important. These people need to be stopped. Well, you're much nicer than I am. I wouldn't even refer to these monsters as people, but I understand what you're saying. Jill Higgins. Hey, Jill Higgins. We need the pups. Release the hounds. Oh, we are there. We are so there. Yoda has effed off to the sofa for the evening, but Strawberry's butt is still here. Adam Downs. Thank you so much, Jill Higgins, by the way. Thank you also, Adam Downs. We need emotional support after this emotional damage. I don't have an emotional damage button, and I can't even do it. I do a better Uncle Roger than I do that guy. But thank you so much, Adam Downs. You guys are awesome. You have helped us. And also put us almost halfway to tier 2 goal, which is a revenge punishment shot of really bad whiskey for me. But that's just like I said, your revenge. We've got to that point of the show where we introduce our guest host for the evening. I'm gonna have to check how many days we've got. Let's keep the goal alive. We've been doing it a while, ladies and gentlemen. We have now reached, through your generosity and support, that part of the show where we have unlocked the achievement that we like to call. Release the hounds. And here is the butt of our co-host, Strawberry. Straubs, hey, turn around, turn around every now and then. Hey, over here, dog. You're on camera. What's up? There you go. Over here. Get over here. Here. Get over here. You just don't care, do you? Where are you? There you go. Say hi to the people. Ow. Say hi to the peeps. Say hi. Say hi, dog. There we go. I'll give you a big treat here when we finish, okay? I'll give you a big treat because you make the people happy. All right, there's your emotional support, potato pig dog people. 516 of you here have witnessed the unveiling of Release the Hounds. That is Strawberry, one of my English bulldogs. Yoda just effed off into the other room, so we've just got a Strawberry exclusive tonight, and I'll give you a little snack later. All right. Thank you again so much for your support, people. Wow. Let's get back to it, shall we? Who's a good girl? Strawberry's a good girl, aren't you? Aren't you, Strawberry? You're a good girl. We all love some strawberries. Okay. Next interview. So this is the one who doesn't want to be met in person. She doesn't want to be a formal witness in the matter. We spoke with her for approximately 26 minutes. Her major focus was on what she believes Sandra would never commit self-deletion, I'm guessing is the answer to that question, would never commit self-deletion. She offered no firsthand information other than her belief. When asked if she had ever met Matthew Farwell or William Farwell, she stated that she had not. When asked if she had any information regarding Robert Devine, she stated she's aware of his history. But Sandra had never mentioned his name. She added that she was living in somewhere during COVID pandemic and quarantine and stayed in touch with Sandra by text and video messaging. Sandra shared information with her something or other. She was clear that her major concern was her suspicion that Sandra had not, and again, I'm strongly assuming that it was her suspicion that Sandra had not self-deleted. She stated that she had been in touch with Lieutenant Fanning of the state police regarding her suspicion. It is important to note that she did the majority of the talking during our conversation, but added nothing firsthand that could be of assistance to this investigation. Phone interview conducted by private investigators L'Italien and Fries. So on Friday, June 17th, 2022 at 10 a.m., I spoke by phone with somebody. It was at work when I called, but agreed to speak with me for a few minutes. Somebody had made a Facebook post about the untimely death of Sandra Birchmore and members of the Stoughton Police Department. She stated she hadn't spoken to Sandra Birchmore in years. She continued by saying, I wouldn't consider her a friend. So this is someone who hasn't talked to her in years, doesn't really consider her a friend. They knew each other in middle school, and they both graduated from Stoughton High School. She had no firsthand information about Sandra's death and admitted that everything she heard was from her friends and family of Sandra who posted information online. I asked if she had spoken to any of the friends or family, and she stated she had not. She stated that the material she read online was that certain members of the Stoughton Police Department had preyed on her instead of mentoring her. Yes, that's what we all read. That's what we all understand. I asked if she had been involved in the Explorers, and she stated she had not. She could not speak for long, but stated she was glad to see the matter is being investigated. Another investigation they conducted. On Thursday, August 11, 2022, somebody was investigated by the MPTC Randolph. We reviewed their employment history with somebody. That's a very helpful thing there. We, like black box, more black boxes. We discussed other roles with the school department, youth programs, and initiatives. We asked a series of questions pertaining to inappropriate conduct that she may have seen in relation to Officer Devine. We discussed the supply closet that was referenced by somebody and she knew about the closet, and that it was generally an athletic supply storage area. So this is sounding like it's a teacher or someone that's involved in the school. This person never saw Officer Devine in that closet alone with a student, hugging a student, having a student sit on his lap, or any conduct of that nature. Sorry, dogs. There we go. Dog is down for the count. There we go. There's a side view of Strawberry's head. There we go. We can look at Strawberry's noggin there. Wait. Right, there we go. All right. Emotional support potato pig dog. Dang, Dan Davis. That's rough. Okay, so they're discussing school-related stuff. Said that they'd never seen Devine alone with a student, hugging a student, having a student sitting on his lap, or conducting, or any conduct of nature of that nature. Did not see Officer Devine using his personal vehicle to transport students at any time. Was unfamiliar with any interaction involving somebody. Did not remember any exchange of love notes between somebody and Devine. I assume that was our last witness. When asked about Sandra Birchmore, she characterized her as something. Was familiar with her, something. Somebody in the same class as Birchmore. Was also familiar with her participation in the Police Explorers program. They never saw Sandra Birchmore with Officer Devine in any capacity. So this is a didn't see nothing. This is a didn't see nothing witness. I don't know. I know nothing. After the death of Sandra Birchmore, the person began to hear rumors of her involvement with Matthew Farwell. Prior to that, did not have any knowledge of this. They found it to be repulsive that Matthew Farwell had a relationship with a person, something. Spoke of a sense of betrayal and losing a close friend in Matthew Farwell. So this is someone who is a close friend with Matthew Farwell. Got it. And they lost them as a friend because of this. One of those didn't see nothing witnesses. On August 11th, 2022, somebody was interviewed by the MPTC at the headquarters in Randolph, Massachusetts. So now we've got a male here. We've got a male witness. We discussed his employment history, something. He is familiar with the open gym program. All right, this is somebody that knows about the open gym program. We discussed the program, and when asked, he never saw a student sitting on Robert Devine's lap or see any inappropriate conduct. When asked specifically about the claim that somebody made about being told to pull her shirt up, somebody described that if a student, okay, so this is apparently the person that told her to pull up her shirt, I guess, I don't know, described that if a student were ever inappropriately addressed, that he would correct the behavior and send the student to the office. He also recalled a discussion that he had with Devine when he saw a female student that he thought was a police explorer scantily clad in Devine's office. Yeah, this is the person that told the other witness to pull up her shirt when she was showing too much cleavage. So he has also seen Devine with a scantily clad young female in his office. He confronted Devine about the optics of the visit by the student and cautioned Devine about being smarter with his actions. After hearing what was described, the student was likely not an explorer, I guess. He did not recall an incident as described involving this other person. We discussed Sandra Birchmore. He characterized something and lots of something. He was familiar with her participation in the police explorers and that she was a member of the martial arts gym across from the station. He knew that she wanted to intern for the police department and had done so at the court. When asked about another encounter involving a haunted house, that something at house recalled Robert Devine and his wife attending the event. I would hold the event annually, and he recalled seeing Devine with a woman named something. He thought the encounter to be odd, as it appeared that Devine was with her and something arrested found something. When he and Devine were working, something Devine pointed out that someone had turned her life around. I later located in-house records for somebody that corroborated the previous something. All right, now the credibility assessment. I view somebody as a credible person. So who is the credible person? The relationship had its inception from a teacher-counselor relationship and evolved into a friendship of sorts when Sandra Birchmore reconnected with the person as an adult. They seemed to have a genuine desire to help the victim, Sandra Birchmore, and had a foundational knowledge of the difficulties that Sandra Birchmore had been struggling with in her early years. The person's responses were unwavering and consistent. I did not view any indicators of deception or a lack of consistency in her responses. She was interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police. What's on Strawberry's head? Hair. There's just hair. Just hair on the head. All right. The next person, I view the next witness as a credible person. She is somebody, Sandra Birchmore, and provided a considerable amount of secondhand knowledge about the events on the life of Sandra Birchmore. She had some contact with the media and friends of Sandra Birchmore and had been interviewed by phone by the Massachusetts State Police. She felt strongly that Matthew Farwell something Sandra Birchmore in the years prior to her death. Somebody with Sandra Birchmore had more contact with her and more frequently communicated with her. Her discussions with Sandra seemed to be of a pragmatic nature in reference to the something. The next person, the unnamed witness. Kate Madison says Legal Vice is going to do a Friday night stream and unbox Temu. It was sent in 2 boxes. One of them has arrived at my U.S. Post Office box. The other one should arrive today. And once they're taken care of, I'll have them sent to Korea. And it usually takes a week to 10 days to get here. So probably the 27th or 28th, we'll do the Temu unboxing. Stay tuned for that. So this is the unnamed witness. I do not view this unnamed witness as a credible person. During his interview, he provided little information, if any. When asked about a confrontational text message that he had with the victim, Sandra Birchmore, owed money to the girls, he could not recall the conversation or the last names of the girls. Having described that they shared a dorm or suite, I find it implausible that somebody could not recall this information. He also demonstrated a very high degree of nonverbal guarded behavior, was sweating, and appeared to be very nervous throughout my interview. So someone was trying to throw shade on her about her owing money to the girls and doing these other things. Apparently, the police officer did not find that person to be particularly credible. Another unnamed witness. I view this unnamed witness to be a credible person. At no time did I observe him deviate from his baseline poise, and I saw no indicators of deception. His answers were direct and showed no hesitation. He appeared comfortable in discussing Sandra Birchmore with Private Investigator Fries and I. Robert Devine. I do not view Robert Devine as a credible person. Well, welcome to the fucking club. He denied having any sort of sexual or social, I'm going to guess that says sexual. He denied having any sort of sexual or social relationship with the victim, Sandra Birchmore. Subsequent to his first interview, Chief McNamara and I were briefed by Private Investigator L'Italien and Private Investigator Fries on his responses to the interview. Hearing the responses, we were both in agreement that Devine had been untruthful about his knowledge of the Farwell brothers having been caught impersonating the police. This fact would have been a part of the background investigation process that Devine, as a member of the hiring panel for Farwell, oh, what a fucking coincidence, huh? The guy that mentored them through the Explorers program. The guy who took care of them, the guy who took these two brothers under their wing, was also the person that was a member of the hiring panel that got them hired as police officers. What a coincidence. And they're saying, look, he would have known as a member of that hiring committee that he would have had privy to this information about them previously impersonating police officers. In addition, this fact was widely known throughout the department. Devine's response was that that must have been before my time was an implausible response. Devine was in charge of the police explorers and was familiar with the Farwell brothers. Devine frequently sat on the hiring panel for new employees. As part of that process, Devine would have been briefed on a background investigation by the investigating detective. Exhibit 34 is an excerpt from the background investigation of William Farwell. The excerpt shows that William Farwell spoke to the investigator about being counseled by Devine and Lieutenant Bonney about getting caught in the act of impersonating the police. Well, fuck me backwards. Look at that. Gee, no, says Devine, I know nothing about any of the Farwell brothers being caught impersonating a police officer. I don't know nothing about that. It must have been before my time. But William Farwell himself says that Devine counseled him after he got caught. Yeah, what are the odds of that? Holy shit. When William Farwell is calling you out as a liar, you must be a pretty fucking bad liar. Gee bus. In addition, after the completion of his first interview, an abundance of evidence to the contrary of his responses was uncovered. A Facebook alias showed Devine, that was the Facebook alias, Marty Riggs, who was Mel Gibson's character in Lethal Weapon. Facebook alias showed Devine something I would assume had contacted, said whatever, Sandra Birchmore, as well as her relationship with Matthew Farwell. They also discussed meeting. At the completion of his credibility assessment, a second interview of Devine was pending and would widen the scope to include untruthfulness, in addition to a myriad of other policy violations for the relationship with the girls, whatever is behind the black box. In a previous investigation that resulted in Devine's holy shit. All right, I want to know what this was. There was a previous investigation. This answered the question I had earlier. He got up to some fuckery before, and he was demoted all the way from deputy police chief to patrolman. He went from the top to the bottom. I want to know what that previous investigation was. The investigation found that Devine was lacking in candor in some of his responses, but did not make a sustained finding for untruthfulness. Devine's history with the investigation conducted by Paul White in an expository example of exploitive, misogynistic, let's read this again. Devine's history with the investigation conducted by Paul White is an expository example of exploitive, misogynistic, and risk-seeking behavior that superseded his professional responsibilities in that case as well as this. In both cases, Devine violated his inherent position of the public trust. For the foregoing reasons, I do not view Devine as a credible person. Yoda was just grumbling across the house, perhaps having some sort of Yoda dream. But Yoda did come back. So, hey, there's some Yoda cam. Get a little bit of that Yoda love tonight. There we go. Got some Yoda FaceTime. What's up, Yoda? Give Yoda giving the side eye. Yoda's the side eye expert. There we go. All right. We'll leave the Yoda there for the rest of the show here. All right. So Devine's a piece of shit. He went from deputy police chief to patrolman because he was violating his inherent position of public trust. Therefore, he's not credible. Second interview of Robert Devine. Well, let's see if the impression of Devine changed from the first to the second interview. A second interview had been scheduled. Oh, yeah, that's right. We didn't get the second interview because he resigned. A second interview had been scheduled and was to be conducted by the MPTC headquarters in Randolph, Massachusetts, by private investigators L'Italien and Fries. The interview was scheduled for Thursday, August 18th, 2022, but Devine resigned from his employment 2 days prior to that date. From this, I draw a negative inference. Yeah. Legal Vices needs to know that story. I do, damn it. I need to know that story. Yeah, so he draws the fact that Robert Devine resigned, didn't even wait for his retirement. He just resigned 2 days before his second interview. Finds that that's a negative inference. Well, yeah. A series of questions that would have been asked of Robert Devine is detailed in Exhibit 13. Another unnamed witness. I do not view this other unnamed witness as credible. As a credible person. In his first interview, he denied having a relationship, I guess, with the victim, Sandra Birchmore. The interview process was stopped when this line of questioning began. Okay, so apparently with someone else, I'm going to go so far as to say that black is large enough to fit sexual relationship with the victim, Birchmore. So my mind has to go to the worst place. I do not view this person as a credible person. In his first interview, he denied having a perhaps sexual relationship with the victim, Sandra Birchmore. The interview process was stopped when this line of questioning began, as well as questions pertaining to his knowledge of other members. Oh my God, it's another cop. What the fuck do you know there? Other members of the Stoughton Police Department that Sandra Birch had involvement with. An unnamed police officer. So let's go with Matthew Farwell, William Farwell, Devine, and now this unnamed person who allegedly sought counsel after being questioned about his relationship with the victim. We're up to 4. Told you it wasn't just those 3. So he goes and gets counsel. He arranged for further consultation with somebody, described his, quote, friendship. They felt the need to put the word friendship in quotation marks. With Sandra Birchmore, that evolved into him as a quasi big brother role in which he would give her life advice. Ah, yes, the old, I'm the big brother and I'll give you life advice thing. Some of this advice included direction on her relationship with Matthew Farwell. Sure. Yeah. Megan McCarthy says, dude, is there no bottom to this pit? Did Sandra Birchmore have a relationship with both twins? Apparently she did. Apparently these groomers were just, all taking advantage of her. But this guy, he's a big brother and giving her life advice. After several attempts to schedule a second interview, he would have to be compelled by the order of the court or whatever in order to comply with the policy of whatever. To that extent, I would characterize him as a reluctant witness, albeit a compelled witness. From this evasive effort, I draw a negative inference. Some discussions recovered from evidence centered on his desire to meet a something or somebody else. So admitted to the illicit conversations that he would have with Sandra Birchmore. So apparently he was at least sexting her or something like that. He admitted to illicit conversations that he would have with Sandra Birchmore. In my opinion, he is a conflicted and non-credible witness in that he was, quote, friends with Sandra Birchmore, whom he knew was troubled, yet engaged in suggestive conversations that ultimately led to his admission in his second interview that he did something that needed to be redacted. You fill in the blanks so I don't have to. Private investigator L'Italien and I both left with the impression, based on but not limited to the above, that he was involved, and that's a big enough box to put, in a sexual relationship with Sandra Birchmore, but admitted as much as he needed to conclude his role as a witness in this case. Yeah, seriously, get a wood chipper emoji. That's a good idea, D-What. We need a wood chipper emoji. If John Byrne, my emoji guy, ever sees this, we need a wood chipper emoji. I see John Byrne around on Aussie Overlord's channel quite a bit. Don't see him here much anymore. He's my emoji guy. If anybody sees John Byrne, tell him hi. We need him over here. Credibility assessment of somebody else completed by private investigator L'Italien. This other person was investigated by myself and my colleague Robert Fries. So this myself is not the report writer. This myself is the private investigator L'Italien. We interviewed her at her home, located somewhere on June 9, 2022, at approximately 5:30 p.m. I view this person as a credible person. He was forthcoming retrospectively in, oh no, this is the she. Okay, this is the this is her, yes. This is the one that was starstruck by Devine and admitted that she was cringe AF and that she narrowly avoided being a victim. Well, as far as I'm concerned, she was already a victim, but a serious, real, like, underground kind of victim. I view this as a credible person. She was forthcoming respectively in what she described as a crush that she had on Robert Devine while she was a middle school student. Yerp. And Devine serving as a juvenile officer, writing Devine love notes, etc. 12 years old, by the way, 12 years old, or younger. She expressed embarrassment for her behavior at the time. Conversely, she took the risk of explaining questionable and or inappropriate behavior by Robert Devine in his role as an adult and public official. In reviewing this interview, her comments and answers to my questions were consistent with that of the Massachusetts State Police interview by Trooper Kathleen Prince and Lieutenant John Fanning. And I did not note any dramatic deviations from what she was now reporting to us. When challenged, she did not appear nervous, and I did not observe any indicators of deception. It's important to note that she contacted the district attorney's office after reading a news article in the Boston Globe. She did this on her own and is willing to be named in not only my report, but as a witness in this investigation. Another witness. I view this next witness as a credible witness. He was asked to recall events that exceeded 2 decades. His demeanor was resolute in responses to questions, and he appeared to be upset by some of the content of the questioning. I would characterize emotional responses as normal, given the content of the discussions. He made a statement towards the end of his interview that he had observed any inappropriate behavior during any of the time. I guess that means not, that he had not observed any inappropriate behavior during any of the time that he worked with Devine, that he would have begun by saying something to him and would not have allowed any inappropriate behavior on Devine's part to continue. Next witness. Before we get into the next witness, Dan Davis in the house with a $5 super chat. Maybe that is why Karen Reed boyfriend was killed. He might have been part of this investigation. No, I doubt it, because he was a Massachusetts State Police officer in the Canton area. This is an internal affairs investigation in the Stoughton Police Department. So, you know, I think there was a little bit of a love triangle going on in the Karen Reed case, but that's just my opinion. But I don't think that his death is related in any way to this. That's just, you know, my personal thought. Just my opinion. Could be right, could be wrong. I don't know. Next witness. I view this next witness to be credible. His responses were consistent and unwavering. He was asked to recall circumstances. Thank you again very much, Dan Davis, by the way. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He was asked to recall circumstances that exceeded 2 decades. Though he could not remember some of the things that happened, he approached me the day after his interview and showed me a picture of somebody from the OMS yearbook. He told me that he vaguely remembered her, but that he remembers a confrontation in the juvenile office between her and Devine. He recalls that there was a circumstance, but cannot recall specifically what that circumstance was. He also asked me if I could pull up a picture of somebody, as she had not been identified. I requested of somebody the identity of her mother. Told me to reach out to her by phone, that she wanted to ask her permission first before giving out that name. I did not hear back from the person. Seemed genuinely interested in helping resolve this case. Conclusion. We're to the conclusion here, people. So we're nearing the end. We've gone a little bit over time, but we're nearing the conclusion. Conclusion. This is the conclusion of the internal affairs investigation report of the Stoughton Police. Robert Devine took control of the Stoughton Police Explorers class on or about 2002 and changed the program model from that of a police explorers scouting program to that of a quasi-paramilitary program. That's what they called it before. He changed it from a police explorers scouting program to that of a quasi-paramilitary program that centered on teaching aspects of policing to youth participants. It was in that program that Devine met Matthew and William Farwell. The Farwell brothers were known to have had some difficulties and disciplinary issues while attending school. Both embraced the Explorers program with vigor and participated in all aspects of the program. Both eventually left alternative education and entered military service. Matthew Farwell was appointed by the Wellesley Police Department in September 8, 2015. He transferred to the Stoughton Police Department by way of a lateral transfer on February 27, 2012. William Farwell, his twin brother, was bypassed for employment on September 6, 2011. In 2014, he received an offer of employment for the position of patrol officer. See, they didn't hire him in 2011, but they brought him on in 2014. He then requested and received a military deferment under the USERRA Act. He had also received an appointment to the Massachusetts State Police and briefly attended the MSP Recruit Academy. He was eventually appointed to the Stoughton Police Department on March 27, 2017. The Farwell brothers returned to the Explorers program as instructors. So they came up through the program, and then they returned as instructors under the guidance of Devine. They returned as instructors. Matthew Farwell met Sandra Birchmore while she was a participant in this program and was 13 years of age at the time. Matthew Farwell began a sexual relationship with Sandra Birchmore. Evidence shows that he knew, that he did it while she was 15 years of age and Farwell was 27 years of age. Yeah, there was a big series of text messages about taking her virginity at 15, and he wished it could have been much sooner. Sandra Birchmore was something with Matthew Farwell as a result of his role as an adult instructor in the Explorers program. This relationship led to Sandra Birchmore getting into another relationship with William Farwell and Robert Devine. Sandra Birchmore died on February 4, 2021. The Massachusetts medical examiner reached the decision that it was self-deletion when it clearly wasn't. Matthew Farwell is a lot of things redacted. After a review of the personnel file of Robert Devine, I located 2 letters. One letter is from the mother of, he found the letter. He found the letter from the mother of Sandra Birchmore and is dated April 17, 2014. The letter in essence is extending thanks to the Stoughton Police Department, and in particular Devine, for running the Police Explorers program. The second letter is not dated or signed, but titled My Hero, Lieutenant Devine, and is amusing to Devine for all that he does for the community. I have entered these exhibits as that exemplify both a public trust that was violated and the Stoughton Police Explorers class was supposed to be. Sandra Birchmore's mom wrote a letter to the department talking about how awesome it was and how thankful she was. That I understand that both of Sandra's parents are deceased now and that she has no siblings. A sad case. On January 24, 2016, Robert Devine entered into an agreement for discipline between the town and an employee. Following the investigation that was conducted, so it was a discipline between the town and an employee. Following the investigation that was conducted by Paul White on February 12, 2016, Civil Service Form 10 was completed in where Devine was reinstated from the position of non-civil service deputy chief to his former civil service position of police lieutenant. Civil Service Form 1110 was completed for the issuance of a demotion from lieutenant to civil service police officer. He completed a 60-day period of suspension from April 12, 2016. In the internal affairs file for Robert Devine, the agreement for the imposition of discipline, is included in the case file. Under the terms of this agreement, Section 5 describes voluntary execution. Mr. Devine acknowledges that he has thoroughly read this agreement and that he understands it and is entered into of his own free will, and further, that he understands that the future instances of him misusing his position or engaging in conduct unbecoming a police officer or other misconduct may result in more serious disciplinary action being taken against him, up to and including termination from his employment. This investigation by Paul White contained a finding that Robert Devine was not a credible person. There was a sustained finding of conduct unbecoming in that case. Recommendations. The 3 employees who were implicated as the subjects of this investigation resigned from employment. We are now required to make notification to the Post Commission. It is my recommendation that Robert Devine, William Farwell, and Matthew Farwell have their certifications revoked by post and that they be entered into the National Decertification Index. Have their cop licenses ripped. I recommend that we request of the Post Commission ahead of Post holding a hearing, that Post file a subpoena for Facebook records to authenticate Marty Riggs as Robert Devine and take any other action within the scope of Post authority. I recommend that this entire document be sent to consultants or experts in the field of forensic statement analysis for an analytical assessment of transcripts to gauge the truthfulness of the responses of Robert Devine, as well as the statements that were made to the Massachusetts State Police by William and Matthew Farwell, as compared to this document and all the evidence that has been submitted in this case. The objective in this recommendation is to obtain and ascertain in a collegial manner an opinion as to the foregoing. I recommend that this entire document be sent to consultants or experts in the field of forensic psychology, particularly to an expert with a specific knowledge of child victimology and some sort of behavior. The objective in this recommendation is to obtain or ascertain in a collegial manner an opinion as to the foregoing. I recommend that this document and all respective communications concerning a relationship between the victim, Sandra Birchmore, and any military recruitment personnel be routed through the appropriate military chains of command for further investigation by the appropriate agency within the Massachusetts National Guard. I recommend that this report, as well as the transcripts for something interviews, be shared with somebody. I recommend that the Norfolk County District Attorney receive a copy of this report. Employees were identified as witnesses in this case. It is my conclusion, based upon this investigation and all relevant evidence, that no other current members of the Stoughton Police Department had an inappropriate relationship with the victim, Sandra Birchmore. As 21A1A is concluded concerning now former employees, I am also recommending that be assigned as a continuation of this investigation for any other people who may come forward with information, and to allow for follow-up with former members of the Police Explorers Program. Brian J. Holmes, Deputy Chief. They're both National Guard members. One or both. I know Matthew at least was. He's an explosives expert. Well, there we have it. We looked at the indictment. We looked at the motion for continued detention of Matthew Farwell until up to and including his trial. We looked at the absolutely horrific memorandum in support of that motion for detention. And now we looked at the internal affairs investigation report of Matthew, William Farwell, and Robert Devine, and a list of other witnesses that came forward. 515 people of here. Thank you for being here, people. This is a heavy topic. This is much, much heavier than we normally talk about, but hey, shit like this happens and it needs to be brought out. This stuff can't be allowed to be swept under rugs, to be hidden from public view. The police officers that engage in this sort of grooming, predatory, pedophilic bullshit need to be held accountable. They need to be brought to justice. They need to suffer. I said sorry for the downer we've had basically this entire week, and a bit of last week or a week before. I can't remember it was a while ago that we did the first thing, but it was so oppressive. We had to take some time off and then we came back to it here. Name and shame all over everywhere. That's absolutely correct. Doggy dreams. He has a nose.
He dreams he has a nose, huh?
Well, thank you for talking about it, says Anne, and thank you for being here and listening to it. Like I said, I hate that we have to talk about this, but it's here and it happened and it does need to be addressed and it does need to be brought to light. We'll follow it as more information comes available to me. We'll follow it as more submissions are made in the federal prosecution of Matthew Farwell for murder. We'll follow it. If any state charges are filed against any of these mofos, we'll follow it. If any of you see any filings in this regard that I don't bring up, please let me know through DMs on Twitter or email. The links are in the description down there. We'll follow it through to the very end, whatever that is, and however long it takes. We're going to do a massive power palette cleanse tomorrow. We will be doing part 2 of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney gameplay, the old ancient Nintendo games. We'll be having fun. We'll be doing a little voice acting. I'll have to undertake the role of all of the various characters. And you, chat, can help me solve a murder. So join me tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. normal time. Ordinarily, we do the Friday night streams of U.S. time, but Friday night U.S. time is Saturday morning my time, and early Saturday morning, me, Yoda, and Strawberry, we're gonna fuck off to a campground for a while. It's tomorrow, the end of tomorrow. As of the end of the business day tomorrow, it's a 5-day holiday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a holiday here in Korea. It's the Korean Thanksgiving holiday, Chuseok. It's actually a 3-day holiday, but the actual holiday is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it bumps up against a weekend. So I got 5 days to just screw around and relax, almost a whole week. So Friday morning, me and the dogs are going to go about an hour up the coast. There's a great little forest, little stand of trees that sits right on the ocean, and that's where we're gonna throw up our tent. We're gonna cook a giant 3-pound tomahawk steak using the only 3 ingredients you need to cook a good tomahawk steak: salt, pepper, and fire. We'll make some videos up there. Just me and the dogs drinking, smoking cigars, relaxing, eating some good food. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking a much needed 3-day camping trip. and then just a couple of days. But starting Monday, so I'll be gone Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But Monday night, my time, Monday morning U.S. time, the 16th, will be that probably once in a lifetime chance to see the United States Coast Guard investigation into an accident. They'll be holding public hearings. They'll be streaming their hearings into the implosion of the Titan submersible that took place last year. So join me for that. We'll be doing that as long as it takes. Chat, I'm going to look for a place to send you here now. While I'm looking for a place to send you, make sure you hit that like button. This is your last chance. If you're watching on replay and you watch this whole thing on replay, crew, hit it. Hit the like button too. Where can we say? And if you have not subscribed to the channel, I would again make this final plea to you today to subscribe to the channel. Join us here. The Vice Squad chat is unquestioned. We've actually, what the F? We've lost 6 subscribers during this stream today. How? We should have gained a bunch. We lost 6. How is that even possible? Who are you 6 people that left? People, we lost 6 subscribers during this show. Subscribe. Come on. Do it. We need to make up the difference. I don't know what happened, but whatever. It happens. We gain a bunch and we lose a bunch. And as long as we keep doing this, as long as it's stairs going up and not stairs going down. But you know, if you haven't subscribed, I would be just super honored if you would do me the privilege and pleasure of subscribing to my channel. And if you are subscribed, double check and make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. Let's keep that going upwards. We are now 430 subscribers away from 81,000. All right, what do we got here? We've got Broken Baker doing the Laurie Shiver husband found under a burn pit case. Lots of Mystery Science Theater. The Young Jerks upcoming. I guess that's it. Broken Baker seems to be the only person streaming now. So let's go to day 4 of the Laurie Shaver fire pit case with Broken Baker. Yeah, like I said, and I get it. I get it. People peace out for this. But if I ever discuss something, if I ever talk about a topic that you don't like, you don't agree with, you find offensive or you find disrespectful or whatever, just avoid it for that one day and then come back the next day. But I get it. I get it when people leave for this. But tomorrow we're gonna have fun. So join me tomorrow for a fun time and help me solve a murder. We're gonna go on over to Broken Baker. Tell Broken Baker hi. Tell him Legal Vices sent you. Let's see what he's doing, because ordinarily when I send you over there, it's like lunchtime now, and he's playing games and stuff. Let's see, Broken Baker. He does have the court stream up. Buried husband murder trial, Florida v. Laurie Shaver. All right, we're gonna go on over there. Mods, thank you so much for helping out tonight. Thank you, as always. You guys couldn't do it without you. Chat, thank you very much for keeping the emotional support potato pig cam streak live. I'm gonna have to go back and figure out exactly how long I think that's the 2-week mark we just hit. I'm not sure, but thank you so much for keeping that alive. You guys are the greatest chat on the entire internet. Thank you for the super chats, the gifted memberships, the purchased memberships, the monthly member. Thank you for all of it. And thank you for just being here in chat, talking to each other, keeping us based and grounded and okay during this incredibly enraging, triggering, horrific case. On to more relaxing things tomorrow, I promise. Thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all, and we'll see you 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. UK, 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Thanks. Peace out. Go tell Broken Baker I sent you. Say hi from Legal Vices. Bye now.